Hello. All right, welcome back, guys, to my channel. So today we'll be looking at objects in JavaScript. So this brings us to the eighth lecture of this tutorial. So today we'll look at what is an object. So an object is an instance of a class. So that is the shortest definition you will get. So what is a class? So a class is a blueprint used to create an object. So it's a blueprint that is used to create an object. So now in JavaScript, you can create an object in three ways. The first one is through a function, the second one is through a class, then the third one is through extending the built-in object in JavaScript. So we will look at the three both ways to create a function. So the first one is to create an object. So the first one is through a function. So let's create an object of a person. So I will say function keyword. Then I'll give it a name. So is in best practice, it's good to use a capital letter. So here I will give in the object member. So the data member. So here, okay, a person will have a name, it will have an age, and all right, maybe salary. Uh, okay, maybe salary. So here I've declared a function, an object using a function. So here I have to assign a property to this object. So to do this, I have to create a property inside this function. So I will say this referring to this object. I say this dot name. So I'm referring to creating a property called name. That is a variable called name. Then I'll assign it to this variable of this object. So I'll do this. Then I'll come here and say this dot age. So I'll do this equals to this age that we have in this parameters. So I will do this dot salary. So this will give you the salary, the variable name for this. Then we assign it to the parameter salary, right? So I'll say salary. Alright, so now we have created our first object. So now let's create a method on this object. I will say this dot this mean this function. So we are referring to this object, right? I say this dot info, then I will say equals to, I will now call it function. Say function. Then I will say okay. So here I will just return or maybe print or console.log. So I will say let me use a literal this, so you should know this. You have it on your keyboard. So use literal. I will say your name, or I will just call this name. Then I will print the variable called this dot name, right? So then let me give it a break, a new line. Then I will say age. Then I will print the variable called age. So age, this dot age. Then I will say all right, I'll break a new line. I'll say salary. Then I will say this dot salary. So I say this dot salary. All right, so this I have console this when I call this function called info. So this in a class it is called a method. Okay, so this is the method, the action carried out by this person. So here let's now create our object. So this is a class. Okay, so now let's create our object. So this is where the instantiation is. So I'll come here, I'll give it a variable const, let's say plus one. I'll say equals to new. So I use the new keyword person. So person. So here I will have to pass in the parameter. Are you seeing it? Name, age, salary. So I'll pass in the person name, which could be Samuel. Then the person age. I will say maybe the person is 25. Then I will say the person's salary. Maybe the person is earning maybe 100,000. So I'll say, all right, maybe 100,000. Then that's it. I've created an object. Now it is an object because I've instantiated the class here. So now the object is now being old inside this person. So I can come here and say, okay, I want to call this dot info. I'll say person one info. So if I call the object like this, person1.info now, so this should print me the information of this person, right? So now I will run this console save. Then I'll come to my HTML page. We have this HTML since we started this lecture, right? So I'll come here and then I will run it. So if I come to my HTML page, I'll go live here in my browser. So I'll come and then I get let's go to the console. So inspect, I get to the console. So let's see what we have on the console. So here you see I have name Samuel, age 225, and then salary of 100,000, right? So you see we created our first object. So now if I come back to where we are, we can create another person. So I will just come here, copy, paste this one here, and here this will be person 2, right? So here I will just give this uh, Joy, and then age is 30, right? So 30, then salary is 200, right? So if I do this, all I have to do is come here and say person 2, right? So person 2, and then dot info. So the information part is what I'm interested in. So I'll call it like this. So I'll say save. Then if we go to the browser here, so if I refresh the page here, so that should give me, you see, I have joy now. So it's 30 and in 200,000. Right? So if I go back to my browser, you see we have created our object. So this is the first way of creating an object. So let's look at the second way to create an object. So second way, so number 2, look at second way to create an object. Second way to create an object. So you can create it through a class. So I can come here and say class. So I say class person 2, or let's say employee, right? Employee. That I'll say here. Then I call a constructor. So it's a constructor. Then I pass in everything that I have here. So I will just copy this. So I'll just copy everything I have here. This. Then I'll come here and say okay. Yeah. So you see that we are doing the same thing, right? So here I have to pass in name, and then age, then salary, right? So this is I have it. Now I've created my object. Now to create the same thing we did here, I'll come here and say I'll create a method called info. So I'll just say info and then like this. That's it. So I'll come here and then let me just copy this what we have here. I'll copy it and paste it here. You see? So this way we have created our object. So now the next thing is for us to instantiate this. So if I copy this one like this, what we have here, just come here and do the same thing here. So here will now be person 3 and person 4, right? So I'll just give this one Joshua, and then here will be blessing, right? Blessing. So if I come here, I call this 3, and here 4, right? So we should have this one printed out, right? So if I save now and I go back to my browser, so and I refresh this thing back, so you see I have Joshua, I have Blessing. Are you seeing it? So that is it. You see we have created an object using the first and second method. So the third method is to extend the built-in object, right? So here I will say constant. Let's say um, I'll say person 5. So I'll say equals to, then I'll say new object. So you see this, so I can do like this, and then I can now start. I could do it this way, or I can use something like this. So this does the same thing, right? So I put this curly brace, does the same thing as new object. So I can do this and then come here and say person 5. I say person 5 dot. So here I can give it a name. So dot name. So equals to, then I'll give it the name of the person that I want. So here I will say what is the name now? So I'll give it maybe uh, Jeremiah. Okay, maybe Jeremiah. Then I can give it age, maybe person 5 dot age. So I'll give him maybe 34. Then I'll give it salary, person 5 dot salary. So I can give it maybe 500,000. So then I'll say person 5 and say person 5 dot info. Say info. So you see, if I call this info now, okay, info, then I can then write a function here, function. Then I will do the same thing that I did here, right? So if I do this, this should give me the same thing. So, but this is not the best way to write this, except you want to write just for one object. So if you want to replicate the same thing, so you can't use this extend one, right? So you better then you should write your own object, your own class, then you can use it to reproduce. So this one we can only do one, right? If not, we have to repeat the process again. Okay, if I save here and I go back here and I refresh now, go back and I refresh. So you see we have not yet called the function, right? So come here, the method. So I'll come here and say person5 dot info. So here I'll go back here and refresh. I've seen it now. So I have Jeremiah 34, right? So that's it for object. These are the 3 ways you can create an object. So I've explained everything. So do well to subscribe to the channel, and then like and also comment. For assignment for you, create an object using these 3 methods I've taught you. Then send your answer or comment your answer to the comment section. Okay. All right. See you in the next lesson.